Hi, my name is Ellie Steele. I'm an advanced EFT tapping practitioner, and today's video is on EFT tapping for food cravings. So this is the basic introduction to using EFT for food cravings. If you're completely new to EFT, I highly suggest you go and watch the basic introduction to the tapping points. So you can find that on my YouTube channel, at my website, evolutionwellnesscoach.com or efttapping.ca, or wherever you found this video. You might also find the basic introduction to the tapping points. So if you have a basic idea of where the points are, it'll be a little easier to go through this video with me. Okay, so I use this teaching technique in my introduction to EFT tapping because it's a really powerful tool, and you can use it anytime you have a food craving or even just thinking about a food. You can use it right now even if you don't have a craving, but ideally we want to get you craving something so that you can tap on it with me. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is maybe pause the video and just tune in and think of a food that you know that you could crave. And if you have any of it in your home, I suggest you go get a little bit of it and just bring it so that you have it available while we tap. Okay, so pause the video and figure out what you're going to tap on and get the food available if you need to. So once you've done that, I want you to get a 0 to 10 rating on how high that craving is. So 10 is it's taking all of your willpower to not just eat it right now, and 0 is you don't crave it at all. So for this to work best, you want a craving that's, fairly high, a 5 or higher. If you're not craving it, if it's only like a 2 or a 3 and you just can't get yourself to crave it, you could try taking a little bite. You could just smell it first, see if that increases the desire to eat it, or if not, take a little bite and see if that increases your desire to eat the rest of it. And if you can get that rating up to a 5 or higher, then you can use this technique to bring it down. Now, that might sound counterintuitive because if you're not craving it, why would you want to make yourself crave it by eating it? But I assume that you're here because food cravings are a problem for you, at least at some point during your life or your day, and you want to learn this tool to be able to bring them down. So when they're high, you can use this to bring them down. So for the purposes of learning it, we want it to be kind of high, right? So ideally you have a rating that's a 5 or a higher, and you can think about that food, and maybe you're salivating. Maybe it's just all in your head, like I just really want to eat that. Maybe you can smell it and it just smells so delicious, and you can just imagine what it would even taste like. The mouthfeel of it, if it's something crunchy or salty, you can kind of think about that. If it's something that would melt in your mouth like chocolate, then think about those aspects. And those, just thinking about that will probably get your craving a little higher, and that's okay. All right, so then we just start with the basic technique. You put the food down. It doesn't have to be away from you. It can actually be right in front of you, and you can be looking at it while we tap. So you start on the side of the hand and you tap and you say, even though I have this craving, I deeply and completely accept myself. And then you go through the points, this craving, and just keep your attention on the food. I really want to eat that. This craving. I really want to eat that. This craving. I really want to eat it. This craving. I really want to eat that. Okay, that's one round of tapping. You stop there, take a breath, and reassess. So look at your food again, see if the craving's dropped. It's okay if it hasn't changed. It might have just dropped a little bit. Sometimes it goes up. Don't judge it. Just notice what's different about it, if anything. Okay, so we're going to tap again. Now, you could get your new number. If that number has gone down, you could get your new number. If the number hasn't gone down, you're just going to keep it exactly the same. If the craving has changed slightly, like you were salivating or thinking about how good it would taste, maybe now it's just something different. But you want to stay with the same food. Okay, so don't jump foods on me. Stay with this one. Okay, so go to the side of the hand again. Even though I still would like to eat that, I deeply and completely accept myself. I would still eat that if I could. I still want to eat that. I still want to eat it. Part of me wants to eat it, and part of me doesn't. I have this craving, and it's hard to control. This craving for this food. Okay, that's round 2. Take another breath, look at the food again, reassess. So I always recommend doing at least 5 rounds, unless it drops to a 0 and you just are done with it, that's fine. If it's not dropping to a 0, commit to 5 rounds. Okay, we're gonna do it again, side of the hand again. Think about your food, get your new number, whatever's different about it. Even though I still want to eat that. I deeply and completely accept myself. I acknowledge this craving. I still want to eat it. I still have this craving. I still have this craving. I still have this craving. That would taste so good. I still want to eat it. I still have a craving for this. I still really want to eat that. Deep breath, reassess. You might have noticed that time I changed hands and sides. It doesn't matter. Just whatever you feel inspired to do. Okay, so rate your number again. Look at that food. Keep it on the same food. Again, see what number you're at. How badly do you want to eat it on a scale of 0 to 10? And if your craving has dropped and you can't feel it, this sounds cruel, but I actually do want you to like smell it again a little bit. Give it a little taste. See if you can get the craving back up, because this is the place to get the craving up. So then we can dismantle it and knock it down. And in some cases, when people do this on a particular food one time, they never crave the food again. That's kind of rare, but it does happen. So do your best to get the craving as high as you can before you tap. Okay, let's do it again. This is round 4. Side of the hand. Even though I still want to eat it, I deeply and completely accept myself, and I acknowledge that I have this craving. I still want to eat that food. There's a part of me that still wants to eat it. There is part of me that doesn't want to eat it. But this part that wants to eat it is strong. This craving for this food. Part of me still wants to eat it. Part of me still wants to eat it. Okay, take a breath. Reassess. What number are you at? Think about that food again. Smell it, taste it if you need to. See if you can get it back up again. And we're going to do it one more time. Even if it feels like it's a 0, try it one more time. Now, just before we start this last round, this is often a place, at some point in this process, people often get to a point where they can take it or leave it. And in my experience, that's like 2 or 3 rounds. Or they can go, nah, it's not worth it. I don't really want it. Yeah, sure, it would taste good, but I don't really want it, so I can just walk away. So it's like the craving is diminished to the point where now your cognitive, logical, rational, long-term thinking brain is more in the driver's seat, and you just can exert some willpower. And it's not so hard. So when you have really serious food cravings that overpower that logical, rational ability to think and apply willpower, that's where this can be really powerful. And recognizing that people vary on this susceptibility scale for cravings. Some people never ever experience the type of cravings that most of my clients and myself have experienced, where it's just kind of a constant battle. Like you're constantly having to tell yourself, no, no, no. Like there's this voice in your head that's always trying to get you to eat whatever is available. especially if it's carby for me. For some people, it's more salty, crunchy, but carbs are almost always part of the equation. So if you're higher on this scale, you might find that the tapping takes you down to a level where you can just walk away. And then you might have to apply it multiple times a day, which does get exhausting, but it's less tiring than having to fight with a drained willpower battery, if you know what I mean. Willpower you only have so much of it during the day. It's like your cell phone battery. It drains over time. And so for a lot of people, they're okay in the morning and through lunch. It's like afternoon, they start really craving, and then they start saying no, 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 no. And then it gets them after dinner when the battery is down and the day is done. And that's when they start eating or snacking. It's a really typical pattern that I see. So this can give you that ability to take it or leave it, or it can knock it down completely and you never crave it again. That's in a perfect world. But again, that doesn't happen very often. But if you're one of the lucky people that happens for, congratulations. That's fantastic. You can probably just apply EFT to a few foods that are bothersome for you, and in a lot of cases, that's it. And they start losing weight and they start feeling better. And there's quite a bit of research done by Peta Stapleton. She's a health psychologist, and so she does EFT research on this kind of thing. So you can see some of her research if you're interested in looking that up. Okay, all that being said, round 5, we haven't done it yet. So look at your food again. I want you to get your craving up. See how high you can get it. Okay, and tap with me. Even though I still want to eat it, I deeply and completely accept myself. I still have this craving. I still have this craving. I still want to eat that. I still have this craving. I still want to eat it. I still have a craving for it. Still feels a little powerless. I still have this craving. Okay, stop there, take a breath, reassess. If you don't find that after 5 rounds that your craving has dropped substantially to the point where you can take it or leave it, then by all means you can do more if you want to, or you can, a couple things that I counsel my clients to do in this case. You can eat it, but tap while you do. Tap while you eat it and just pay attention to what happens, because you might find you stop sooner, it doesn't taste as good, and you just have this ability to go, I don't even really want this. And that's fine, do that, because that will train your brain in regards to foods and how much of it we would eat. Because typically, if you have this high susceptibility brain like I do, any carb will do. Once we're in a craving mechanism and we indulge it, you will eat a whole bag of stale Peak Frame cookies, right? Like you'll eat anything that's available, even if it doesn't taste good. So it's just your brain needing a fix, really, when it comes to that. So you can get a lot more information about my approaches to EFT and food cravings and even food addiction, although I don't really like that term. And you can understand why when you read a little bit of the stuff on my website. I really prefer to think of it as hijacking our normal brains getting hijacked by our modern food environment, because foods these days are completely different than they were 100 years ago, and our brains did not evolve to handle the onslaught of sugar and salt and fat and all the processed stuff that makes food taste so overwhelmingly delicious that it hijacks our brain. So I have a lot of resources. You can check out evolutionwellnesscoach.com, EFTtapping.ca. Feel free to reach out, Ellie at evolutionwellness.ca. You can also go back and do the whole video all over again, or do a few more rounds, and do it with a couple different foods if you want to. Try it out. Let me know in the comments how that works for you. Happy to help any way I can. Good luck. Have a great day.